Tesla's technology. This is part 2 of 2, free energy, stargates, space-time portals, and doors into other dimensions. Based on the assumption that Tesla had amazing knowledge of the laws of nature, most of which were still unknown to conventional science, we should briefly reflect on the kind of technical purposes and their possible consequences that the tower had to perform in Wardenclyffe in New York. What were his goals? Number 1, the ionosphere vibration. Since the voltage difference between the ionosphere and the Earth's surface is about 2 million volts, the tower would eventually enter phase with the ionosphere, and due to the constant fluctuations between the higher and lower frequencies of the ionosphere, as are common electric capacitors, because such an evacuation would be instantaneous, there was a serious risk of the destruction of New York. Because the evacuation would look like this, the ionosphere would suddenly eject a high diameter, high energy plasma column, maybe a few hundred kilometers, and everything in this place would be extinguished. It would burn in a way as described by what took place in Sodom and Gomorrah. Of course, Tesla did not want to destroy New York, but with oscillations at regular intervals, it pumped energy from the ionosphere to move the large oscillator, which required a minimum voltage of 100 million volts. He used a large number of ultraviolet lamps spread over the top of the dome as a machine for very short oscillations. Number 2, get energy from the ether. The oscillations of the uncoordinated electromagnetic fields make it possible to move the time coordinate and recycle energy from the past and the future without affecting the stability of the electromagnetic environment. Certainly this must be done by a strictly causal mathematical law that precisely defines the frequency relationships, otherwise the results are out of control, and so unexpected decompositions of materials, objects would occur, even if they are momentarily excluded from the part of our reality, made, for example, in 1943 in the famous Philadelphia experiment. You remember that? That was with the Eldridge, the ship that appeared and disappeared, and the sailors embedded in the metal of the ship. Now, number 3, to open windows of time to parallel worlds of other dimensions. Since parallel universes have an electromagnetic structure with wavelengths and frequencies very different from those in our world, it's possible with complex harmonic electromagnetic oscillators to form a partial relationship between the frequency of our universe and the frequency of these other worlds, so that some scenes from there can be seen in our situations on Earth and vice versa. Number 4, to accelerate the spiritual evolution of mankind. By creating a constant high-frequency field that is in harmony with the collective electromagnetic field of humans, it gradually increases the power of perception as well as the expansion of the intellectual capacity to receive ideas. The radiation of these frequencies can also be harmful if they are inaccurate. Every disharmony of the field, the asynchrony, causes the human being to partially separate the mental and physical, that is, the mental and the physical, which in a milder form manifests itself as cancer, psychosis, and other disorders. Complete separation naturally causes the death of a person. The same principle applies to viruses and bacteria, as well as changes in the universe in general. It's noteworthy that these processes are usually timed, that is, with delayed effects. Due to the lack of proper knowledge of the electromagnetic environment, people are increasingly polluting it with radio waves, with microwave and radar radiation. The radars are cancer-causing and now experimentally proven, and with other negative electromagnetic interference caused by electromagnetic radiation, frequencies of living beings, and with the information field of our solar system. Now, since he's talking about other dimensions, he now talks about how to move our planet Earth into other parallel realities. transmitting planet Earth to other parallel realities. Number 5. If the 5 transmitters had been completed and Tesla had put them into operation, it could cover the whole Earth as a single coordinate system and thus bring it into an oscillating state typical of another part of reality. And so it takes us, of course, to a parallel world. You move the whole Earth into a parallel universe. In doing so, or who knows where it's going to go. Maybe it'll just blow up into pieces or just disappear. Obviously, that has never been done before. And this is astonishing, don't you think? All right, well, going on with the article, it could cover the whole Earth as a single coordinate system and thus bring it into an oscillating state typical of another part of reality. So it takes us, of course, to a parallel world. This is exactly what he was trying to do with the Philadelphia experiment with the Eldridge ship. Now, in doing so, he says, he probably wanted to make a mutation of the human species, accelerate the journey of culture over time, and thus improve culture rapidly by technical means. But given the general tuning of frequencies in the universe, that would be very dangerous. Entering Earth in the phase of oscillation and coordination with parallel worlds would take a long time, and catastrophes such as that of the legendary Atlantis could occur. The secret of the explanation of physics is in the transfusion. Leaving the natural terrain, Tesla left us his valuable scientific guidance. His work clearly demonstrates that from the various aspects, angles, and interpretations, the truth can never be fully seen, and continuum cannot be constructed from discrete parts. The nature of truth is such that its recognition must be immediate, complete, to the end, or not at all. Let me remind you of Cartesian's discovery that, quote, infinity precedes the finite, end quote, and the infinite essence of Spinoza, which unites nature with God. Modern experimenters must bear in mind that the secret of the explanation of the physicists lies in the metaphysical. And as long as our science remains blind to the explanation of matter exclusively, so too will we be in this unacceptable state of delusional, divided, and incomplete consciousness. The basic achievement of modern human knowledge must be and will be in physics, because the structure of matter, the laws of its creation, and its role in nature must first be fully clarified in order for the human mind to be liberated and trained for meaningful and profound cosmological investigations. Participants in the Philadelphia experiment, the Eldridge, as you remember, the ship, whatever they were, revealed to us the existence of previously unknown scientific problems. New physics and Tesla. In modern science, Tesla is increasingly mentioned. Scientists have begun to study him, who have so far not understood the difficulties of electromagnetic theory, which relies solely on Maxwell, especially those dealing with the unification of electromagnetism, gravity, and the strong and weak nuclear forces. Is matter infinitely divisible or not? Is space infinitely divisible? Finally, what is the role of time in physical processes? Of course, without defining time, no hypothesis can be given about time as an active agent of physical reality. Or is time merely a measure, a kind of human imagination, a mere coordination, as is now implicitly taken into account in natural theories based on relativism and quantum mechanics? Human ignorance is enormous, and the rejection of Tesla's ideas of ether as the primary means of structurally uniting space and matter has led to the cessation of thinking in physics, the recycling of ideas, and a permanent return to the old, already tried and outdated ideas. These are primarily Einstein's inappropriate mathematics, that is, the multiplication of negative extensions in special relativity theory, which creates the inconsistent perception of the timing of shift systems and the reduction of body length in the direction of propagation. When the multiplication by zero and the general theory of relativity resulted in the correction of the greatest nonsense of modern cosmology, the Big Bang theory, that is, the successive cycle of explosion and contraction of the universe. In serious scientific circles, which consciously take the risk of creating a new physics, quote unquote, Tesla's ideas are taken very seriously. The secret core of the universe. In many mysterious parts of the world, experiments with very low or very high frequencies have been carried out for some time, especially designed to irradiate the ionosphere, such as HARP, H-A-R-P. Yes, HARP, pulses, frequencies hitting the ionosphere. All the implications of these experiments are still unknown. Among them is the control of weather events, especially hurricanes and atmospheric pressure, as well as the reflection of thoughts and emotions on the outside by electromagnetic means, that is brainwashing, that is through the coordination with electromagnetic transmitters. It has been technologically proven that it is entirely possible to mimic the electromagnetic basis of human mental activities to give the subject the impression that the thought was originally his own, or that a decision is the result of his own free will. This is also the basic principle of Nikola Tesla's cybernetics. Quote, man is an automatic cosmic force, end quote, points out in many articles and lectures. Now, the Tesla Wardenclyffe Tower in New York, it's even easier, as the experimenters say, to provoke mass emotions or to incorporate an intent into a large number of people with proper oscillation of the ionosphere, which is a complex network of chords down the collective unconscious of all humanity. The ionosphere is the key to controlling mass emotions and thoughts, and Tesla knew all this in the distant year of 1899 in Colorado Springs. Tesla is a cosmologist and had his own philosophical and religious point of view. Quote, Aristotle taught that the universe is a constant dilemma that moves everything, and thinking is its essential element. So I, too, am convinced that the whole universe is united both in material and spiritual terms. There is a nucleus in the universe from which we derive all our strength, all our inspiration, and it attracts us to eternity. I feel its power and the values it imparts to the whole universe, and this way keeps it in harmony. I have not penetrated the secret of this core, but I know it is there, and when I want to give it a material existence, then I think it is light. And when I try to understand it spiritually, then it is beauty and symptomy. He who has such confidence within himself, his work brings joy because he feels like a tone in world harmony, end quote. This is a quote by Nikola Tesla. Our Tesla visions are waiting for us. The visionary and incurable humanist Tesla had made the mistake of showing to the foremost representative of the monopoly interests of his time the world as it could be, free from energy monopolies and with abundant and cheap energy for everyone, the world that humanity may be ready for in the 21st century. After the plan failed in Wardenclyffe, Tesla never had the opportunity to bring free energy to the world, but he continued until the end of his life to design, construct, and envision various useful achievements. He has always been incompatible, a lonely and romantic knight for science. The establishment of his time fought him hard, and eventually he died January 7, 1943, poor and ignorant in a humble New Yorker hotel room. Tesla was a great and optimistic visionary of the future of humanity. But what were his visions of the utopian and energy-free world of the future? These are hidden in his hundreds of manuscripts, which have been unearthed by Secret Service and teams of researchers around the world. The life, work, ideas, and visions of the father of free energy, Tesla, have inspired dozens of scientists and researchers who in turn have set themselves on the hunt for science's holy grail, the discovery of a device that draws on and utilizes the free energy of the environment. The source is Terra Papers and Amphipolis News, and I translated this from you for you from Diadrastika, and I'll leave a link below for you for this. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.